Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're jumping into a huge topic, unity. It's something we all want, right? But what if it's more than just a nice idea? What if it's actually the key to everything? Let's dive in.
So let's start with a thought experiment. I want you to imagine someone offering their very last prayer. Like, this is it. What do you think their most important, most urgent, final request would be? When everything else is stripped away, what matters most?
Well, our source material today takes us right into one of the most famous final prayers ever recorded. It's from the Gospel of John. And you know what's wild? Jesus' last prayer for his followers wasn't for their safety or their success or their happiness. Nope, it was for this one thing, that they would be one, united. Why? So that the world would believe.
And that brings us to our first big point, the final prayer for unity. This is so important. In the source, this wasn't just some wish for everyone to get along. This unity was supposed to be the ultimate proof, the most convincing evidence to a world that's watching. It's framed not just as a good idea, but as the core of the entire mission. Okay, but let's be real for a second. If unity is that crucial, why is it so incredibly hard to achieve, right? I mean, why do our communities, our jobs, even our own families struggle so much with division? So what's really going on here? That's what we're digging into next, the root of division. To get to the answer, we have to look at what the source says is the real obstacle, the very thing that causes all that friction in the first place. And you know what? The source is incredibly blunt about this. It doesn't beat around the bush at all. It says, when pride and worldly ambition are cherished, contention, strife, and dissension come in. It points the finger directly at pride and selfish ambition as the two things that absolutely wreck unity. So what this is really saying is that the division we see on the outside is just a symptom of a battle going on inside of us. It's a conflict of loyalty. The source frames it as what happens when our desire for status, for recognition, for worldly things becomes more important than our commitment to God and to truth. So if that's the problem, what on earth is the solution? Well, that leads us to our next section, citizens of the heavenly kingdom. And the idea here is pretty radical. It's not about a new set of rules to follow. It's about a complete shift in how we see ourselves, a change in our very identity. And believe it or not, this whole idea boils down to a single, powerful Greek word from the book of Philippians, politeuomai. Now, it's often translated as live your life or conduct yourselves, but the literal meaning is to live as a citizen. The idea is to change your citizenship, to stop living by the rules of the world around you and start living like you're a citizen of a completely different kingdom, a heavenly one. And just look at the difference here. It's like night and day. On one side, you've got the earthly kingdom's values, pride, me-first thinking, personal ambition. I mean, think about it. For me to get ahead, someone else often has to fall behind. That's just a recipe for division. But on the other side, you have the values of the heavenly kingdom, humility, focusing on others, and service. Those things build people up, they create connection, and they lead to unity. Okay, so citizen of heaven sounds really great, right? It's a powerful idea. But what does that actually look like when you're stuck in traffic on a Monday morning? How does it change how we actually live and interact with people every day? All right, let's get practical. Let's talk about the character of a citizen, because this is where the abstract idea becomes really, really concrete. What are the virtues that define this heavenly identity? So, where do we find the blueprint for this kind of character? The source points right to the Sermon on the Mount. It's a call to be poor in spirit, to be meek, to be someone who is desperate for what's right, to be merciful, pure in heart, and to be a peacemaker. And then there's the really tough one, loving your enemies. Every single one of these things is the exact opposite of the pride that causes division. And then the source pulls out this one incredible verse from the prophet Micah that just perfectly sums it all up. All of those characteristics can be boiled down to this: act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. It's a beautiful summary. Seriously, just think about the practical effect of this for a second. Imagine trying to stay angry with someone who actually lives like this. It's almost impossible. According to the source, this kind of humble character doesn't just manage conflict, it has the power to stop it before it even starts. It's completely disarming. And that brings us to our final section, and really, it's a challenge for all of us. It's time to take this whole idea and bring it home. So in the end, we're left with this really powerful question from the source, a challenge for you and for me.
How different would our families, our workplaces, our entire communities be if we really chose to live this way as citizens of that other kingdom? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.